You don't need to be a trained chef with fancy tools and ingredients to make great food. I'm a third-generation turkey farmer, and I've been cooking my whole life. Whether it's cooking for friends over a fire in the backyard, or simply throwing something together for the wife and kids, I've picked up some tips and tricks along the way to make good food great. I want to share those with you and take the fear out of cooking.
Hi everybody, my name is Eric. Welcome back to the Chubby Farmer, where I take the fear out of cooking. Today, we're making salsa. First thing you want to do is blanch your tomatoes to get the skin off. We got a pot with a rolling boil. We're just going to drop these tomatoes in. About 2 minutes per batch. If you see the skin starting to crack and come off, you could take them out earlier than that. Once you see that skin crack, you're going to pull them out and put them into an ice bath, just to shock them. That skin's going to come right off. This recipe calls for an ice cream pail of tomatoes, so we'll be able to do this in about 2.5, 3 batches. As soon as you see that skin starting to crack, you can pull them out. The more ripe your tomatoes are, the faster that skin's going to crack. If they haven't split after about 2 minutes, they should split when you put them in that ice bath. Let's get this hot water out of the way. Now comes the messy part, peeling and seeding. We're going to put them straight into the pot that we're going to cook that salsa up in. See how nicely that skin comes off? Some people use a knife. I like to just use my hands, squeeze those seeds out. The fewer seeds you have in there, the thicker your salsa will be, and the less time it'll take to boil it down. I just squeeze it off the core, leaving that stem, that hard green part behind. Just like that. Once you've got that meat back into your pot, you want to put it back on the stove and start it boiling. The biggest thing to remember is not to let it burn, because that will ruin your entire batch. These tomatoes will also break down as you cook, so you don't have to worry about putting them in smaller pieces. At the end, I also like to puree mine because I don't mind a thinner salsa. You're going to add 2 medium onions and as many jalapeños or hot peppers as you like. I'm adding, I think I cut up 5 of them here. I took the seeds out of most of them, but not all of them because I like heat. Be careful with the seeds because that is where the heat's going to be hidden. Now you're just going to let that cook until your onions and your jalapeños are soft. If you're not planning to puree it, you'll want to cut those into smaller chunks. But like I said, I'm going to go in there with a handheld blender and puree it when it's all said and done. You can also add salt at this point. Other than cilantro, that's the only other spice that goes in this salsa. The longer you boil it, the thicker it's going to get. But like I said, make sure you're not going to burn it.
Don't forget to add your cilantro.
Once your onions and peppers are soft, it's a good time to puree it. If you're not choosing to puree it, you can continue to let moisture boil off until it reaches the right consistency. So I'm going to puree this now. Just going to turn my heat off for a second. At this point, you should also give it a taste test to see if it needs more salt. Remember, when it's hot like this off the stove, it's also going to intensify your hot peppers, and it's going to feel hotter than it probably is going to be. Whew. That one's going to be spicy. Don't be surprised if you need to add more salt. The acidity of the tomatoes is really going to absorb that salt and balance it out. So this is the consistency I like it. A lot of people like it a little thicker than this, so you can continue to boil it off until it reaches your desired thickness. That's just perfect. I've lined up all my jars beside my station. You can find these supplies kind of at your local grocery stores, co-ops, that sort of thing. You want to fill your jars right up to the bottom of the lip here. Give them a bit of headspace. These jars will seal within 24 hours if left untouched on your counter, and they should store in a dark, cool place for at least 18 months, maybe longer. I always like to set out more jars than I think I'll need. Partial jars like this one can go directly into your fridge. Chances are it will not seal. Now, you're going to want to wipe each rim with a vinegar-soaked paper towel just to clean it off and get off any oils to make sure that those seals hold. This one I'll do anyway, even though it's not going to get sealed. And then, hand tighten. Careful, these jars are hot. And there you have it. Don't forget to label your jars with the year and kind of salsa.
Don't forget to click those like and subscribe buttons so you never have to miss out on this beautifully edited and expertly produced content.